following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? It does not matter who I am. I am sure of that. I'm pretty sure that it does not matter who the host is of this show, as long as you are hanging out doing the things that you do, because that's always the important part of inside of the equation of whatever the hell we have going on. So let's not lie real quick about that. So anyways, how are you? Hopefully everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as things are going and moving and rotating and all that other kind of fun stuff that we talk about all the time on this lovely show. So hopefully everything is good and grand. So today's Wednesday, September the 22nd of 2021, day 265 of the year. And are you ready? Only 100 days left to go. So tomorrow, as you are aware, we get down to double digits on the countdown to this thing. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse that we refer to as Safety FM. And then, of course, we're hanging out at that other place there. Radio. So we are also hanging out with our friends, our colleagues, our buddies at radiobig.fm doing the things that we do over there. So hopefully that's all kinds of fun stuff going on for those who like to listen. So there you go. So as you probably did notice or didn't notice or probably cared to notice or didn't want to notice, we were not here yesterday due to some late night schooling. Yeah, because that's really what it boiled down to. So this week has been an interesting week in regards of classes. So I'm not going to lie. So that's what's been going on. Unfortunately, if I had to give you the news, if you want to know, I won't be here again tomorrow. So I'll fair warn you. I mean, I think I won't be here tomorrow, but whoever knows? Things change so quick. You never know what's going on. So let's talk about what is trending right away in regards to the fiction and nonfiction category, because those things are always important to talk about. So taking it from the top inside of the fiction category, at number 5, A Slow Fire Burning, right there. At number 4, Billy Summers. At number 3 in the fiction category, It Ends With Us. At number 2, Beautiful World, Where Are You? And at the number 1 spot inside of the fiction category, according to the New York Times bestsellers list, Forgotten in Death. So let's talk about the nonfiction category, because I always think that those things are fun. The Bright Future. At number 4, Beautiful Country. At number 3, The Body Keeps the Score. At number 2, Countdown, Bin Laden. And at number 1, American Marxism. So there you go. That's what's going on according to the New York Times bestsellers list of what books are in and out and around and about and all that other kind of fun stuff. So just if you're taking a look, a move, and a groove and all that information, there you go. Now you know. So that's what's going on. So before we get moving and grooving, hang out. We'll talk a little bit more about the things that are going on. If you're new to the show, the way that it works is that we have some friends that are professional broadcasters that come in and talk about what is going on inside of the world. They give you their world version, and then we move forward from there. So here's our friends at Feature Story News, and we'll be back on the backside of whatever the heck they have to say.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. China's Xi Jinping says his country will end support for building new coal-fired power plants abroad. US climate envoy John Kerry's welcomed the move. Rachel Silverman reports.
The Chinese leader did not say when, but he did tell the United Nations General Assembly China will end the flow of cash to foreign coal projects. Currently, more than 70% of global coal-fired power plants rely on Chinese funding. She also said China will step up support to develop green and low-carbon energy. This comes on the heels of similar pledges by Japan and South Korea earlier this year, and it comes ahead of the global climate talks scheduled for this November in Scotland. Rachel Silverman, Oakland.
Buildings in Melbourne have been damaged by a 5.9 magnitude earthquake in southeast Australia. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says there have been no reports so far of serious injuries. The German government's given a fresh timeline on when it expects the country will reach herd immunity against COVID-19. The country's health minister says the virus will circulate through the winter before starting to subside next year. From Berlin, Trent Murray.
The COVID-19 pandemic is likely to last at least another 6 months in Germany, according to the country's health minister. Jens Spahn said the way things stand, Germany was likely to reach herd immunity by the spring of 2022, either through vaccination or infection. He stressed that the safest way was through the country's vaccination drive. He also said that that timeline depended on the presence of any variants that could evade the current crop of vaccines being used, though he said that this was very unlikely given how well the vaccines are performing against the existing strains of coronavirus. 63.3% of the German population have received both of their doses of vaccine, while 67.3% have received at least one shot. Trent Murray, Berlin.
The UK government struck a deal to restart a carbon dioxide production plant in an attempt to avoid further shortages of goods and food. American-owned CF Fertilizers, which supplies most of the CO2 used in food production, had halted work due to rising wholesale gas prices. It was causing concern over possible food shortages in supermarkets. The deal could cost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars, but Environment Secretary George Eustice says it was important to strike.
The steps we've taken to ensure that there isn't a gap in supply of carbon dioxide will, in particular, make sure that people can still get access to good quality British chicken and pork. Christmas is safe, of course, but there are challenges in the food supply chain, and I'm not denying that. So pressures on labour, lack of labour availability, pressures on logistics, all of these are causing some stresses.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at the announcement by the Biden administration earlier this week that it's going to end the travel ban that for a year and a half has prevented people from more than 30 countries from visiting the United States and caused fury in the UK, Europe and elsewhere. In November, America's doors will be open once again, said the White House on Monday. Lisa Mino is travel editor for The Sun newspaper in Britain.
To UK travel, it's hugely important. 5 million Brits go to America every year. That's pre-pandemic, obviously. And we were losing about £23 million a day in terms of business with not having that link there. Brits unable to go to the States. Obviously, we changed America onto the amber list earlier on in the summer. And the idea was that we hoped it would be a sort of reciprocal thing at the time. But it's taken the Americans slightly longer to recognise the fact that they want to open up to the rest of the world.
But there are still enormous questions about precisely how the policy will be implemented. The White House could not say on Monday how the US will define the requirement for travellers to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. What will happen, for example, to children who may have had only one jab? And which vaccines will America recognise? That question has not yet been answered either. The details will be important and presumably unveiled in the next few weeks. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, China says it will stop building new coal-fired power plants abroad. Buildings in Melbourne have been damaged by a 5.9 magnitude earthquake. Germany's given a fresh timeline on when it expects to reach herd immunity against COVID-19, saying the virus will subside next year. And the UK government struck a deal to restart a carbon dioxide production plant in an attempt to avoid further shortages of goods and food. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
There is a lot of misconceptions when it comes to the world of virtual private networks or VPNs. Let me tell you real quick about my favorite VPN service, NordVPN. I hear people say all the time that VPNs have the reputation of slowing down your internet speed, but not with NordVPN. It's because they are the fastest VPN in the world. I don't have to sacrifice internet speed for better security. With NordVPN, my traffic is routed through a secure encrypted tunnel, which protects my data and privacy. I can also have NordVPN on to up to 6 devices, so all my devices are protected. I will tell you, I have used NordVPN throughout all of North America and have never ran into an issue with the service. And now, for an exclusive offer for you, get up to 73% off of a 2-year plan plus 4 months for free. Yeah, you heard me right there. 4 months for free. All you have to do to get this offer is go to nordvpn.com/safetyfm. That's nordvpn.com/safetyfm, or use code safetyfm at checkout. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee if NordVPN is not for you, so there's no risk whatsoever. It's the equivalent to buying a cup of coffee every month, a small price to pay for premium cybersecurity and access to vast amounts of entertainment. So go right now to nordvpn.com/safetyfm. That's nordvpn.com/safetyfm to get this special offer, or use the code safetyfm at checkout. Remember, 73% off for a 2-year plan plus 4 months for free.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, so there you go. A lot of stuff going on this lovely Wednesday. Yeah, that's for sure, as we are moving and grooving and everything. It is 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out this morning, doing the things that we do. And I do say this morning because it is morning where I am located. Of course, I don't know what time it is wherever the hell you're at. So it becomes difficult. It becomes a difficult conversation. That's for sure. So let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the world, because I think that these things are always important as you and I are talking on this lovely day. Because let's get it move Let's get them moving. Let's get the stuff going and all that stuff. And let's talk about what's going on inside of the world of the news. So let's go from there. Home constructions in the U.S. went up by 3.9% last month from the previous month. The August increase was a 17.4% above the pace of 2020, according to the Commerce Department. The 21.6% increase in construction of apartment units offset the 2.8% drop in construction of single-family homes last month. Applications for building permits rose by 6% as well. And it's kind of interesting because we talk about it and we go, okay, well, this is the rise and this is the low and this is the highs and all that stuff. But keep in mind about this real quick as we are talking. A lot of people were not doing a lot of stuff during the 2020 season, just in case, because I don't want that to become one of those things. I guess Siri thought that I was talking to her, but that I don't want it to become one of those weird things where it's like you have to kind of put some things into context if you're not thinking about them for sure. So there you go. Anyways, the death toll of COVID-19 has now surpassed 676,000 in the U.S., according to the Johns Hopkins University. That number exceeds the estimated 675,000 deaths that occurred in the U.S. during the 1918 Spanish flu. Of the population eligible for the vaccine, 74.7% have received at least one jab, and then the other have been fully vaccinated at 64%. So there you go. So the COVID-19 pandemic has lasted longer than the 1918 flu pandemic so far. So there you go. So when you say so far, my question becomes this. There's no way to retract that. There's no way to go back and say, oh, no, it's going to last shorter. So there are some things to think about as we are talking for sure this morning. So let's go real quick and let's talk about paleontologists who are starting to piece together the sex lives of dinosaurs. Can you repeat that? Yes, they're piecing together the sex lives of dinosaurs. While a creature clearly had to do the deed to reproduce, no fossils have ever revealed two dinosaurs caught in the act of the act to show how it happened. Really? This is a news story? Also, it's not possible to easily determine whether the dinosaur is a male or a female based on how its fossilized bones. So how did dinosaur sex work? Oh, how are we getting into this? Only 18 minutes in. Research from the University of Bristol and the University of Massachusetts Amherst published a study in the Journal of Current Biology stating that the discovery of dinosaurs' cloaca belonging to the Priscosaurus, while mammals have separate holes for different bodily functions, other animals such as birds and reptiles just have one. Okay, good to know. Based on this, think the patrologists think that the dinosaurs have mated through cloacal kissing or pressing together on their openings. How does this happen first thing? Okay, but Jack Vintor, a patrologist and senior lecturer at University of Bristol School of Earth Sciences, questions the mechanics of dinosaur sex, particularly for creatures like the giant dinosaurs, because there's not ones that are not giants, with its arms plated and pointed tail. So worth noting, the only known vertebrates to preserve mating are a pair of 47 million year old turtles that were attached through their genitals while they were buried alive. Okay. Apparently this Wednesday, or it being hump day, has become the slow news day of the year for sure.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Yeah, that was way too much more than what I would ever care to know. Anyways, an autopsy positively identifying the body found in Wyoming National Park as a 22-year-old Gabby Petito. The Denton County coroner ruled out the matter of death as a homicide. The cause of death is pending final an autopsy. Petito's boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, is still missing. Just in case if you didn't know that. John Walsh also yesterday has jumped in from America's Most Wanted fame, has jumped in now in assisting in regards of finding Petito's boyfriend. in regards of what is going on. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are moving forward. I don't know. This case continues to get more interesting and interesting as we are talking. Okay, 2 known gang associates were arrested with a trunk full of KFC takeout as they try to enter Auckland's, New Zealand's largest city, in breach of the strict COVID-19 lockdowns. The 2 men will appear in court for charges breaching of health order. They're facing prison time for up to 6 months and a fine of 4,000 NZs, which is equivalent of $2,800. Under Auckland Alert Level 4 lockdown measures, restaurants, including takeout services, must stay closed. Everyone has been ordered to stay home and only essential services to open. The rest of the county is at a level 2, so with the restaurants, cafes, bars, and nightclubs open. The rest of the country, not the county. Residents are also allowed to leave their homes. So maybe it was an essential thing to get some Kentucky Fried Chicken, if you know what I'm saying there. Maybe that's how they considered it a level 4. I don't know. Some things to think about for sure as we are talking this morning. Anyways, let me get Johnny Smalls inside of here for he can tell you about what's going on inside of the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. Equity markets tried to rebound Tuesday, but the move was weak and without conviction. All eyes are on the FOMC and its policy decision scheduled to be announced this afternoon. The committee is not expected to alter its policy, but is expected to indicate when and by how much the taper would begin. The S&P 500 gained about 0.5% at the high of the day, but closed well off the high. Regardless of the FOMC decision, inflation is a problem for the market. A few S&P 500 companies have already indicated the negative impact of rising prices and have guided accordingly. Lennar stands out as one deeply impacted after reporting revenue well below the analyst consensus. Their executives say the miss in revenue is due to unprecedented supply chain challenges that are expected to linger into the foreseeable future. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. So stocks finished mixed up on Tuesday as the Dow lost about 50 points and the S&P fell about 3 points and the Nasdaq advanced about 32 points. Wall Street is turning its attention to meeting of the Federal Reserve this week, which might conclude with the regarding of the tapering of the asset purchases. So there you go. Some things to think about. So I don't know. I mean, I know that a lot of people that come out over here and hang out are safety pros, as we talk about all the time. So what are you thinking here in regards of the stock market? Like, what are you doing with it? Are you playing the game? Are you not playing the game? Always some stuff to think about as we are hanging out and doing the things that we do. But I always kind of am intrigued and interested on what's going on from your point of view. I think because we already have John so close by, maybe we should do Motivation Minute. We'll do it right now as well. So John, back to you.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Mindy. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" That's a great question. I remember moving to a new community about 15 years ago. I had many people tell me that town that we moved to was really cliquey and it's hard to get to know people. I didn't feel that way at all. Why? Because I was not looking for a friend. I was out trying to be a friend. I was helping on committees. I was working on projects. I was welcomed with open arms. You can be too. If you're not, you might want to ask yourself, what are you doing for others? This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one as we are talking. So there you go. Some motivation. Clickety-click. 2 Japanese sisters have been certified by the Guinness World Records, Book of World Records, as the world's oldest living identical twins at 107 years of age. The twins were the third and fourth of 11 siblings born in island in Japan. They were separated after elementary school when Kodama was sent to work as a maid in Japan in Sutherland, Maine Islands, while the other sister remained on the island and grew up and had her own family. After decades of living their own lives, the sisters finally reunited, and it feels so good. Oh no, sorry. And they were 70 and started making pilgrimage together to some of the 88 Shikaku temples that were there. They found that they live separate nursing homes and due to COVID-19 are unable to be together. The previous record was held by twin sisters, but it does not state the age. So there was another set, is what it sounds like, prior to its time. So there you go, some information there. McDonald's is phasing out plastic Happy Meal toys. The burger giant announced yesterday that it is working with toy companies to develop new ideas, such as three-dimensional cardboard superheroes or board games with plant-based game pieces, in effort to reduce the use of plastic. In the UK and Ireland, Mickey D's has already only offers soft toy, paper-based toys, or books with Happy Meals. The company said that the goal is to drastically reduce the plastic that the toys are used, or that they use essentially worldwide. So there you go. So very interesting stuff when it's all said and done there. I mean, I don't know. What would you think about that whole? What comes to mind when it's all said and done there? Do you think that that's something that's important to you? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's important to you. That's why I asked the question. Just some different and interesting things always taking place as we are hanging, moving, and grooving and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, 2 statues were reinstalled on the grounds of Wisconsin State Capitol yesterday. The 9'6" statue of Wisconsin's Colonial Hans Christian Haig and the 7-foot statue of woman symbolizing the state's Ford motto were reset for after protests ripped them down during the demolition last year in the wake of George Floyd. Neither of the statues are have any racist history associated to them, but prosecutors stated that the reprint of false narrative that the Wisconsin supported black people and equal racial equality. So what do you think about this? About, the statue thing of the statues coming down and now the statues going up in some locations. Do you think that this will be a common theme across the board as we are talking? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question for you. Anyways, in regards to talking about the world of safety, let's get into this right now. Copenhagen has been named the world's safest city for 2021, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit Safe Cities Index, which also ranks 60 international destinations on digital security, health security, infrastructure, personal security, and environmental security. Denmark's capital holds the top spot for the first time. The city jumped from 8th place in 2019 to the top of the list this year, scoring an 82.4 out of 100 on the report, largely due to the introduction of an environmental security section in personal security. Toronto took second place with an 82.2 points, and Singapore took third place with an 80.7. Now, when you're looking at places to move to, does this play a big factor to what you have going on? Just asking a question, of course, there. It's one of those interesting things for sure, as we are hanging, moving, and grooving and all that other kind of fun stuff, because that's what we do here. We hang, we move, we groove, we do all the other kind of fun stuff all together. It is 29 minutes past the top of the hour, so I guess it's time for us to do the thing that we do during this portion.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about it. I mention this all the time. If you hang out with me in person, if you hang out with me on here, if you hang out with me on the other side, I make reference to this all the time. Technology is great until it fails you. The moment that technology fails you, well, then it sucks. I mean, let's just be realistic. So I don't know how to explain it. I don't know to tell you what happened, but I will put it to you this way. So as you are aware, because we talked about it, I was among the missing yesterday due to a class that I had to do. So with that being said, we normally during these classes do all kinds of presentations, and we have some animations and all that kind of fun stuff. So I've always have told people that I talked with in regards of when you're doing presentations, you have to know the material back and forth. Because the moment that something goes wrong, what are you going to do? So yesterday I had the privilege, because it really was a privilege, to hang out with some people that handle some power stuff. We'll just put it that way. And they were representing multiple companies. And we get to the portion that we're going through the whole scenario. And we're using, we'll say the Zoom alternative, because it wasn't Zoom. And all of a sudden, it's time to do the presentation. It's time to do the animation portion of the presentation for it to go through this whole story. So we're good. We're set to go. Everything starts playing. Sounds great, but everybody's kind of doing that weird look inside of the screen. And if you're looking at me on the streamer right now, you know, the weird look, you know, the look that I'm giving right now, if you're on the radio, it doesn't really translate over. But they're doing this number. And we're into this. It's probably about a 6-minute explainer video. We're probably about a minute and change. And all of a sudden, I hear somebody pipe up. And they say they can't see the video. So, of course, I'm like, it must be something on their side automatically. Because, you know, it can't be my system. It can't be my system that goes wrong. Not my technology. If you've ever hung out on this Rated R safety show, you know we have technology issues all the time. But that's a whole other story. And I'm like, there's no way that it can be this. And all of a sudden, there's more people that start saying the same thing. So, of course, it's the moment of panic. It's the moment of, okay, I know the story well enough that I can say it without the animation, but the animation makes it kind of cool. So, luckily enough, and is it really luck or was it really things going as planned? We have a backup measure just in case if anything is to go wrong. So we have another system that is set up to do the exact same thing, kind of like we'll say a fail-safe in regards. So we're able to do the fail-safe. The fail-safe goes through. Everything works perfectly at that particular point. But at that moment of panic of, okay, am I going to have to tell this story opposed to just playing the video explainer? Now, here's the thing. I have no issue doing a video explainer. I have no issue talking about a story. But it was that moment of becoming so dependent on technology that I wasn't sure what to do next. Like, as you are aware, as you and I hang out, I expect that when I turn on the microphone this morning, you'll be able to hear me. I also expect that when I hit a button like this, you'll hear what the button has to say. Now, a lot of times we become so dependent on technology that we never know what's going to occur next. Now, I look at this stuff and I go, technology will always fail at some point. It's great until it fails. It just does. It just is. And I always kind of get hung up with organizations and people that have such strong belief in metrics that are predictive metrics. I know that if I punch in this information that we did so far, all of a sudden, based on the metric system, this predictive metrics that our organization uses, I know that this is where we're going to have the next issue occur. Do you trust technology that much that you would be willing to take a gander on that? Do you trust technology so much that you would be okay with saying, okay, we're going to do this, and we know that if it fails, it's going to fail right here based on what the technology is telling us? Is that something that you're willing to do? Or do you have enough safeguards in place that you know that if technology was to fail, there would be another way to do the prediction? Now, it's always interesting that in retrospect, we totally understand how exactly an accident occurred and all that stuff because we've already have all of the information that has occurred. But that's the retrospective idea. So, like, right now I can sit about and talk about this thing that occurred yesterday and be like, well, we did this, we had this, we knew where the issue was, blah, blah. But at no point during the sequence of events did we know that that was the case. I didn't know that I was going to hit this and no video was going to show up, or that people were only going to hear the sound. And it's interesting to me because at the same time, too, we sometimes believe that our employees, colleagues are purposely going to work with the intent of getting injured. I mean, I don't think that that's the case. I mean, if you knew that between step 4 and 5, somebody was going to get dismembered, there was going to be a dismemberment accident occurrence, something tells me that people will not move forward from step 4 to step 5. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hope that that makes sense. I look at it, though, and go, there's so many different things to talk about. There's so many things to talk about in regards of technology. And it's not that I'm saying that we've lost our belief in humanity when it comes to accidents. I'm not saying that we've lost our capability to remembering a story, an animation video. But it's because we become so heavily involved in technology. Now, it's kind of hypocritical on me saying this because radio's technology, video's technology, streaming is technology, and it's all stuff that I'm currently using. So I know how it can come across very hypocritical. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we had a ham radio here, we'd be doing that. And that's a whole other story there. But it's interesting on how we have such high reliability on technology. And then the moment it fails, we're not 100% sure what to do. Anyways, just some things to think about this morning. And I kind of go about this and I go, but what the hell do I know? Just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
You know how sometimes in life you have those moments of shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time to people. So let's talk about that very sensitive subject of male pattern baldness. Don't go through that moment where you're going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's talk about my friends at Keeps. 2 out of 3 men experience some form of hair loss by the time they are 35. With more than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. You don't have to be one of them. Think about this. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss. And my friends at Keeps offer both. Keeps offers simple, stress-free way for you to keep your hair. Convenient virtual doctor's consultations and medication delivered straight to your door. I mean, I have to tell you, just for the whole sake of not having to leave your house to have the consultation, that should sell itself. But the low-cost treatments start just as low as $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. Discreet packaging and proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. I want you to think about that. People love the product. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. All you have to do to take action to prevent hair loss is to go to keeps.com. That's KEEPS.com/safety. to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com, KEEPS.com/safety to get your first month free. That's KEEPS.com/safety. Remember, not everybody has such a beautiful head as mine. So don't be saying coulda, shoulda, woulda. Act on Keeps right now. Here we go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. This is Goals. Coming across right now on the Rated R Safety Show. They did not confirm if this one's on Spotify or iTunes, so I don't want to say the wrong thing and be like, oh yes, it's not available, or it is available, and then watch it not be. Anyway, so let's get you moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff as we are hanging out on this lovely morning. So there you go. Anyway, so let's talk about some random stuff because I think it's time to do that because, you know, we have some randomness that comes on from time to time inside of this show. So a Vancouver man grew tired of using dating apps to meet someone special, so he decided to do something about it. Fed up with the facts, as he puts it, apps force people to look at strangers with no context. So Dan Hawkins is offering prizes up to $7,000 to anyone who can help him get a date and ultimately a wife. Hawkins, who says that meeting a significant other online has replaced traditional methods of meeting partners through friends and families, is asking people to send along potential matches to him. After filling out a form, the hopeful matchmakers will then be entered into winning a prize. A committee made up by his friends and will identify good matches, set Hawkins up for some dates, and then ideally, he says, courtship that will lead to marriage. After the wedding, Hawkins will hand over prizes and that kind of partners. And what kind of partners Hawkins looking for? Somebody who has a kind heart, someone who is curious and has a sense of humor, and doesn't have to be good with my sense of humor alone. So good because it sounds like a bad joke. He also is looking for a partner who can lend him $7,000. So don't take that out of the equation if you're looking. He sounds like he's the kind of guy who has been swiped left a lot. If you kind of think about it. You know, the timing of this is pretty interesting, so I'll share this with you. And maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but I have, during last week, and I know that we normally don't talk about this, but I'll talk about it anyways. And I'm sure that our sales department people won't give two shits that I said this, but who cares? Or might give two shits that I said this. But we had a company last week that reached out to us that essentially is a dating website for professionals. I don't know if I go too far, you're going to figure it out, but it's a dating website for professionals to essentially, I don't know if they're really looking for the marriage thing. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but it's essentially a dating website only based on professionals during a certain time of the day. Just saying. And so I just thought that the timing of this news story and that is kind of odd. And I normally, and not that I need to get this approved before I say anything, but I always think it's funny that when I talk about this, because I'm sure I'm going to catch some crap when I get offline here about talking about this, but I just always think that it's interesting in some of the timing on how some of these news stories end up working all together.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, scientists say that many parents are concerned about that amount of screen time their children experience isn't good for them. But a surprising new study has found that things aren't as bad as mom and dad fear. University of Colorado Boulder researchers report that the screen time among adolescents only result in a slightly higher risk of attention disorder, disturbed sleep, and lower grades. And they also found that school-age children who spend a lot of time staring at digital screens tend to have more close friends. However, it should be noted that it does not appear that the increased risk of depression or anxiety, depending on the type of screen. I know that watching the Jets has the same effect on me, so I'm just throwing that out there. Overheating is not the cause of excess weight, according to a team of scientists at the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. It's actually what you eat, not how much you eat, that leads to obesity, according to a new study. They found that that processed foods and rapidly digestible carbohydrates may be the real problem. Current dietary guidelines claim that losing weight requires adults to reduce the number of calories that they get from food, beverages, and increase the amount expended throughout physical activity. But study authors feel that the age-old model of weight loss doesn't work in the world full of tasty, heavy marketed, cheap processed food, and they say that reducing consumption of these rapidly digestible carbs will lessen the body's underlying drive to store body fat. Good theory, too bad. Well, never know. So, I mean, I wonder about this. So this always becomes one of those things now that we're interacting significantly with a wellness person. We'll have to see if they actually respond to this one, because I would love to hear their standpoint on this, because if you're taking a look at these consumption, the reducing of consumption of these rapidly digestible carbs, I would love to see what they have to say about it. So is the goal then the carb to take longer to digest, or is the carb supposed to be rapid? I mean, I don't know. This is why we need dietitians to talk here, because I have no clue what the hell is going on half the time with some of this stuff. So there you go. Just something to think about for sure as we are talking.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Should we talk about this 49 minutes past the top of the hour? I think we should. 10 of the most annoying, most mispronounced words. I mean, I think if you hang out here, you'll probably hear them all. So let's go from number 10 to number 1. Triathlon instead of trialon instead of triathlon. Accessory instead of accessory. We're going to butcher these. At number 8, extenuate instead of exaggerate. At number 7, tender hooks instead of tenter hooks. Nuclear instead of nuclear. At number 5, atric instead of arctic. At number 4, specially instead of especially. At number 3, espresso instead of espresso. At number 2, probably instead of probably. And the number 1 most annoying mispronounced word, according to this list, pacifically instead of specifically. 35% of people gave that answer. that they hated people saying that. So there you go. Da-da-da-da. We're not going to talk about the swamp because I don't care. No winner for Monday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $490 million jackpot or a $355.1 million cash payout. So good luck if you play the game, just to have that information there. Anyways, before I forget, let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Know that you're not alone. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, you can go to their website at afsp.org. That's afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. We really can't do a lot inside of this world without you, because we're all meant to play our own part. So there you go. You're the most important part that we have on this planet. It's not a joke as I say that. A lot of people go, when you say that, do you mean it? Yes, I do. I do. I can't do what you do. I really can't. I hope you know that. And nobody else can do what you do. Just really how it goes. I mean, the way that you visualize life compared to the way that I visualize life, I'm sure it's totally different. And the way that you look at problems and solve problems and all that, I'm sure it's different. And it's kind of rare to find people that are, I mean, you might have similar things that you like, but you don't know what I'm going through. I don't know what you're going through. That's why life is so different for everyone. Especially when you're getting it from your own point of view. I mean, of course, you know, you watch a movie, somebody's feeding you some stuff. I'm not saying that's life, so let's make sure that we're clear here. But you have to think about those things. You have to think about how all those things play a factor into this. This is not just life on its own. So let's think about that as we move forward. Anyways, let's continue talking, because it's always important to talk about these things. It is 52 minutes past the top of the hour. We will be hanging out on radiobig.fm here in the next 8 minutes. So if you want to come over and hang out, we'll do that and talk about some things that are going on inside of the world. We have a lot of stuff that we can talk about today, and that celebrity news stuff, if you're intrigued by that. Anyways, let's talk about some things that occurred back on this date. Back in 2018, Rihanna is appointed as an ambassador for her home country of Barbados. The role involves promoting education, tourism, and investment. So there you go. That happened 3 years ago. Birthdays for today: Carlos Correa turns 27, Tom Felton 34, Tatiana Maslany 36, Billy Piper 39, Ant Middleton 41, Chris Tallman 51, Scott Baio turned 61 today, Andrea Bocelli turned 63, Joan Jett 63, and Nick Cave turned 64. So there you go. Those are some birthdays that are going on today. If you want to know about some days that you can celebrate today, let's talk about those, because that's always important. It's National Recovery Day, American Business Day, Car Free Day, Dear Diary Day, National Centurion Day, Elephant Appreciation Day, National Girls Night, hey now, Hobbit Day, National Ice Cream Cone Day. I think I need to celebrate that one for sure. National Legwear Day, National White Chocolate Day, and Optimal Equinox Day. How the hell is that even a day? I mean, I don't know. But there you go. That's a nice little mixture for you if you're looking for some days to celebrate.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, so let's talk about, did you know the Dutch remain the tallest people in the world, but according to a new study, they're getting shorter. Statistics from the Netherlands say that women born in 2001 are an average of 1.4 centimeters shorter than they were born back in 1980, while for men, the gap is an average of 1 centimeter. What's behind the downward trend? Scientists have suggested that everything from climate change to more diverse gene pool. But one expert says that the answer is nutrition. it could be easier to access unhealthy food and inequalities when it comes to healthy eating, and that could be the main reason in the decreased average of height. So hold on, hold the phone. So are you telling me that if I am taller, there's a better chance that I was well nourished in regards to the process? I mean, I'm just trying to figure that out. That's an interesting study, for sure, as we are talking. I mean, what do you think? What do you think about it? Very interesting stuff. Anyways, let's talk about some whack facts real quick. Every day, an average person creates a sentence that has never been said before. I feel like we've said this before. I feel like we've said that before. Cats lose almost as much fluid through grooming as they do through urination. That's something to think about. Bamboo is stronger than steel. It is a greater tensile strength. It also can withstand compression and better than concrete. Really, bamboo? I didn't know that. Did you know that? UPS has started by two teenagers with one bicycle and borrowed $100 from a friend. Innovation at its finest. A column of air 1 inch square and 600 miles per hour weighs about 15 pounds. And some Egyptian mummies wore dentures. So there you go. There's a whole slew of stuff that you might have not known. So there you go. Some interesting things real quick. So let's continue. Let me give you some scoops of BS before we get you out of here. A report shows that insecure narcissists are more likely to post on Facebook, at least according to the status I read while posting 50 selfies when I'm forcing a smile and sadly wondering why no one likes it. Fall officials arrived today, so there you go. Officially arrives today. Fall is also referred to as autumn, and autumn is also referred to as the reason that I sometimes come home with glitter all over my body. Don't ask questions about that one. A Bolivian woman found a human finger in a hamburger that she was eating at a local restaurant. At least she had something that she could stick down her throat to help her throw up. That's for sure. Joan Jett turned 63 today. The day she still loves rock and roll, but she prefers rock in chair. So there you go. Some things to think about for sure as we're talking about it. Fact: sarcasm is banned in North Korea. Also banned good haircuts.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay. Should I say these? Let's say these before we get you out of here. Would you rather? Here, that's going to be the questions. Would you rather be forced? Or no, let's start off with the first one. You'd rather have the ability to see 10 minutes into the future, or 150 years into the future? Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance on every single song you hear? Would you rather find true love today or win the lottery next year? Would you rather be in jail for 5 years or be in a coma for a decade? Would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life or the internet? Would you rather not be able to go out during the day or never be able to go out at night? Would you rather be an extra in the Oscar-winning movie or the lead in a box office bomb? Would you rather communicate only in emojis or never be able to text again? Would you rather swim in a pool full of Nutella or would you rather swim in a pool full of maple syrup? Who comes up with these things? I don't know, but we're sharing them. There you go. If you need a random joke for today, try this. Just be yourself is the worst advice you can give to some people. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. Where is your happy place? If you need something for the water cooler, try this. Ready? Here you go. Question. For some reason, men tend to do this more often in the fall. What is it? Watch romantic comedies. I can give you another question if you like. Question. Research shows that 2 people who do this on a regular basis are happier than those who don't. What is it? Nap. So take a nap more often, I think. So anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on RadioBig.fm and SafetyFM.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. Radio Big and Safety FM, we can't do what we do without you, the most important part, the listener. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Sometimes the greatest adventure is simply a conversation. Think about that. The greatest adventure can just be simply a conversation. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.